All right, top of the morning to you, everybody. It's today, the 3rd of January, which means that this is the first official market update for the year. So I'm going to start with Bitcoin on the weekly chart here, and we're going to chat a little bit about what we can see currently on the charts right now, longer term, because weekly, monthlies are longer term, and we just closed the monthly and the weekly chart. So let's start off with the monthly first, the very first month of the year. What can we see on the charts showing itself to us as a potential opportunity? So first of all, I want to bring your attention to the fact that we did make new highs on a monthly closing basis right over here. And we are now potentially creating a higher low on the monthly chart right here. And if we look at what happened with this area on the chart, I'm actually going to highlight this because I want to bring our attention back to this area in just a bit. But we can see that this is potentially acting as support for the monthly chart. And this also lines up with the 8 exponential moving average on the monthly chart. So as long as Bitcoin maintains closing monthly candles, I would say anything above $43,000 per Bitcoin, we're pretty much good and dandy to continue making higher highs and higher lows on the monthly chart. So that means we're still on the bigger picture, bird's eye view, we're still in a very strong bullish trend here. And I don't see us stopping anytime soon. So from a monthly chart perspective, things are still looking good. A little bit of a pullback, nothing to be concerned about. I mean, we've seen pullbacks like this before that just end up becoming a decent rally. So I think we're in for a rally early this year. Looking at the charts right now, let's go to the weekly. And this is why I wanted to bring your attention to this area. Look at this. So the weekly time frame on the weekly chart here, we can actually see a bunch of stuff inside of this area. We can see a similar pattern right over there, where we've got that red, smaller green body, bigger red body to the downside, just like what we saw in the monthly, but in the opposite direction, right? We saw the green, smaller red body, green continuation. So what I'm expecting right here is for the market to continue to hold support. We can see right here, we've got this major low on the weekly chart at around about $43,000. Again, lining up with our monthly low of $43,000 as well. So as long as we maintain above this weekly closing basis, on a weekly closing basis, above $43,000, I'm going to say that this is going to continue to take out the highs. Now, if we look at potential targets here, we can see a very clear liquidity zone that's been created from this spike high right here all the way to the closing of these bodies at the top. So nice big liquidity zone, loads of spikes being created up here, which means that there's hidden liquidity above these spikes. So usually the market needs liquidity in order to move. So what are we doing right now? We are taking out liquidity to the downside, right? Once we're done taking out liquidity to the downside, the next obvious area for the market to look for liquidity is to the upside. So right now, we can see on the weekly and the monthly, we are in a strong market structure area. So again, looking at going into this new quarter in the new year of 2022, I'm expecting cryptos either to move sideways and up or do some kind of an accumulation pattern, which we'll talk about on the daily because there is an accumulation pattern currently starting to evolve. And then we want to see those retests of those higher areas up here to come and sweep for that liquidity, that hidden liquidity that's waiting for the market to come and get it back. So we're going to see probably a very strong start to the year looking at Bitcoin here. Looking at the daily chart now, here's the thing that I want to talk about. Look at this. Look at the daily. We can see that as price was moving down, we could see a general decline in volume. Everything was looking good and dandy. Then again, liquidity at the top. Look at that. We left liquidity at the top. After swiping for liquidity at the low side, what is the next obvious area to go and look for liquidity? To the upside. So even on the daily, weekly, monthly, things are starting to line up with each other. Even though on the daily, I want to point this out, guys. On the daily, we are still currently just accumulating. This is an accumulation pattern right here. We created our first initial high with this candle right here. Then we stepped our way down, sweeping liquidity after liquidity after liquidity, coming back up to grab this liquidity, getting everybody excited with a false breakout, like some of them call it. False breakout, it's simply just the market makers creating liquidity to move price, coming straight back down to sweep one more time these stop losses that are down here, and then potentially coming back up to come and reaccumulate on these liquidity zones up here. So on the daily, this would be my target if we started seeing a bounce on Bitcoin, of course. And if you're part of our community, even just our free community, then you'll be able to probably know when we are taking trades around BTC. So we share BTC trades. If you're interested in that, you know, just get into the free Telegram group down below, and you'll receive some free Bitcoin setups, trade ideas, things that we see in the market that could potentially evolve in a profitable trade. Again, this is not financial advice. We're not at all financial advisors, but we are trying to show people that if you have the skill to analyze and trade charts, you can actually make your own money without having to give it to anyone else and trusting anyone else. So let's have a look at what we're seeing on the daily, right? We're seeing that accumulation pattern, potentially going to be taking out these spike lows. Now, if that happens, this will be a confirmed local low on the weekly chart. And if this is a confirmed local low on the weekly chart, what do we have? We have a higher low, which actually has already been confirmed with 2 weeks ago, that bullish candle closing above these bodies right here. This is already kind of confirmed as a local low. I would like to see the follow through first, of course, and then we'll continue onwards and upwards from there. Also want to bring your attention to this MacGyver right here. Now, this is just the normal relative strength index. Now, you guys know I love volume, right? So volume, RSI is a derivative of volume. So if we're looking at volume here, we can see that it is currently printing what we call hidden bullish divergence on the weekly chart, which is phenomenal, right? We're looking at the area of value, which is this monthly area right here, this zone that we just identified. We're looking at the overall trend on the weekly, and we're looking at potential hidden bullish divergence. And with all this liquidity left at the top right here, it's very possible for us to see that rally in the first quarter of this year, like I said. Now, if you want to capitalize on any of these moves or see what kind of trades we are taking, you're more than welcome to join our free Telegram group down below. All right, so from the daily, let's go down to even lower time frames. Let's have a look at what the 4 hour is currently showing us. Now, I do want to mention this. The daily is still in a downtrend. Okay, you can see on the moving averages, we're still overall making lower lows, lower highs up until this point right here. We made a brand new higher high than our previous 2 highs right there, even closed higher than this high right here. Okay, so we've made a brand new higher high, and now we've come to make equal lows. Now, some traders might look at that as potential double bottom. Fair enough, you can look at that as a double bottom. Volume would agree with you on that. RSI would agree with you on that. Beautiful bullish divergence here on the daily. Definitely going to be looking for this liquidity to be swept. But let's look at the 4 hour chart here, right? There we have a lower low right over there. Let me mark this out for you guys. We have a lower low and we have a lower high. What does this mean? It means that on the 4 hour chart, we are still currently trending to the downside, and we can expect some shorter term downside potential here, right? The daily has started reversing the trend slightly. It's showing some form of accumulation, a beautiful pattern starting to play out there that we can identify and potentially capitalize on, right? All those higher time frames look good, make sense, looking healthy. And then when we look at the 4 hour, 4 hours looking anemic here to me, to be quite honest. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the 4 hour tried one last time to sweep these lows before, again, look at the liquidity at the top. Look at this. We have on the daily chart and the 4 hour chart, pretty much the same liquidity. We've got some liquidity up here, which looks like late last night we tried to grab and never got up there. Okay, so this is showing signs of weakness. So we could potentially see price come back down towards these lows down here. As you guys know, again, we will be sharing those trades. If Bitcoin is about to drop, I will be sharing that trade idea. It's not a signal. We don't share signals. It's trade ideas. I just basically share with you where I'm going to get into the market, what trade setups I'm looking at executing for myself. And then with the education that you get from even some of our free content, you can decide whether or not you want to participate in that. Okay, so on the 4-hour chart, it is looking a little bit anemic here. It looks like it wants to roll over one last time. It's potentially going to reach that $45,000 level one last time. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, we did see bullish divergence on the 4-hour chart from this low to this low, which is great, but we could have already potentially seen the reaction from that. Retest of that 21 exponential, already rejecting the 55 exponential. You know, again, this is looking like signs of weakness rather than signs of strength. We can start seeing that rounded shape right here, where we just get lower wicks all the way through. So again, short term, I think price is probably going to come back down a little bit more. Let's have a look at the hourly chart right here. Hourly is currently in a downtrend. We can see that we are currently making lower lows and lower highs. Moving averages agreeing with us on that. Also, I want to bring your attention to this. Since we started bouncing here since early this morning, we have not seen a decent increase in volume. In fact, we have been gradually decreasing in volume, showing that there's not much participation from the buyers at the moment. Okay, so from the hourly chart perspective, also looking like it could potentially resweep these lows. Now, this is one of my targets for the day. So if we can reach this area right here, I'd be happy to potentially take a short position around these areas and target for these lows to be swept. Now, if the hourly chart starts turning around, the 4-hour chart has the opportunity to do the same. And if that starts happening, then obviously it will lead into those higher term timeframes, and we can start looking for those bigger moves to play out. But until then, as long as these lower term timeframes are still overall bearish, we can look for those short-term pullbacks a little bit lower and then position ourselves to capture those big moves to the upside, right? So that's the hourly chart, still looking 4-hour, hourly looking bearish to me. 15-minute time frame, let's have a look at the 15-minute time frame here. 15-minute time frame, I would say it's pretty much similar. Again, coming into that zone right here. In fact, the 15-minute time frame, we can actually adjust this zone a little bit bigger right here. Anything inside of this zone is liquidity. That's it. This is just all grabbing liquidity. Even a spike back up above this high would be grabbing liquidity. Now, if the 15-minute time frame grabs liquidity, comes back down and starts showing signs of strength, then obviously the 15-minute time frame will be potential buying opportunities, which would lead into hourly time frame potential buying opportunities, and so on and so on, right? But you get the picture. Then 4-hour, and then it leads into the bigger picture. But the point I'm trying to make here is we are potentially going to see some downside short term, and that's perfectly fine. Again, there's nothing to be concerned about. I think overall the markets are still looking healthy. Longer term, I think we're in for a beautiful start to the year. Maybe sideways, boring action, but definitely tradable, and you can make money with it. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. It's a very short little market update. I'll be bringing these to your attention on a daily basis. If you'd like more information on the trades that we're looking at the kinds of setups we take, the strategies we use, as professional traders, we are a bunch of professional traders that make a full-time living from trading. Then join our free Telegram channel down below. Get some information, get your foot in the door, start learning about the stuff. And I guarantee you, when you look at a chart and you've got the know-how and the skill to analyze it and understand what's actually happening, a whole new world starts opening for you. And it's a beautiful, wonderful world. And I'd like to share that with you. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow in the next one. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.